Hello, everybody. Welcome. I am so very excited for you all to be here. I'm a person who starts on time. I don't believe in waiting 5 and the 10 and the 20 minutes to get going because I'm a person that believes if we say something is supposed to start at 2 o'clock, then that means it's supposed to start at 2 o'clock. So welcome. First thing I want you to do is let me know that you're here. Let me know that you're on. We will wait a couple seconds of that. Go ahead, drop a comment just to let me know that you're watching, that you're tuning in. Let me know who's here. On top of that, go ahead at this moment and like and share this broadcast. Go ahead and share it, stream it out, let people know that you're watching it, that you're excited about it, and that we're here to learn something new. You ready? Who I got in here? On top of that, go. All right. See that here? Great. Let me know that you're getting on. Let me know what you're getting on. Making sure all of our technical stuff is good and up and running and going. Good. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started with this piece here. Just a moment, everybody. I forgot to go live on Instagram. I gotta hit my Instagram live. That's very important. Cool. All right, everybody. So my name is Derrick Lionel, that most of you know me as, and we'll be here doing these CHRISTMADE sessions. I'm so excited again to be doing these sessions with you all because they are near and dear to my heart. They mean a lot to me. They tell me a lot about who I am. They kind of define what I do. They kind of define how I operate my life. And so these sessions are going to be very integral and very important. Yeah, there we go. Very integral and very important to kind of the next phase of who I am. To kind of give you a backstory on me and what I do and what I'm about. My name is Derrick. Again, I graduated in 2012 with a communications and theater degree. I love my school. Shout out to Temple University. It's very important to me because that's a large part of my journey. One second, everybody. I apologize. This is for the first time, and for some reason, these comments, I can't see what y'all are saying back to me. So we gonna see why this is happening. One second, everyone. Oh, give me one second, everybody. I need to make this stream on Facebook public, therefore I can see your comments. So we're gonna do that now. Thank you all for your patience. Okay, cool. Hey, Instagram, just trying to make sure we lock in on a bunch of stuff, make sure everybody's good to go. Oh, okay, cool. Hey, Instagram, just trying to make sure we lock in on a bunch. Cool. I'm gonna go ahead and just keep going. So, in 2012, graduated with a communications and theater degree. In 2013, I formed a company called Dream Live Movement. If you know Dream Live Movement, go ahead and let me know in the comments that that's something that you are a part of. What we did is we used pretty much all forms of the arts, all creative forms of the arts, theater, dance, poetry, music, drums, whatever was available to create productions based off of different societal and biblical topics. So we did a show on vision, we did a show on love. One of my favorite shows, we did a show entitled The Fabric from Which We've Come, pretty much talking about the history of the Christian church and what fabric we come from, and kind of interpret it through different creative art forms. It was really, really cool stuff that I did back when we first started the company, Dream Lab Movement. So that's kind of my theater arts background, as well as performing, doing different shows, different things, all of that stuff, right? In 2015, and I'm giving this timeline because I think that it's very important to kind of give you a backstory as to why it's even necessary or important, or why you should even be interested in listening to anything that I have to say. Because I think to come on here and present myself to you all and to give you all of me and ask you to listen to what I'm saying, I think I need to provide some reasoning for why I would believe I can help you and be beneficial to your life. So for me, this timeline is pretty important. All the way back in 2013 is when I first formed my company. And in 2015, shortly after that, 5 years ago, is when I first was given by God, the CHRISTMADE idea. My school had done this huge campaign that I loved, that everybody was hyping, and they were like, Temple Made, Temple Made, Temple Made. For all my TU owls out there, go ahead, shout out, make some noise. It was cool, and that was a great thing. I loved having that Temple University and Temple Made connection, but it immediately made me go, okay, I believe that I'm made by Temple in some ways, and Temple has been a part of my process, but I don't necessarily believe I've been made by Temple. I don't believe I've been crafted by Temple. That's just been something that I love, and it's a place that helped me in my development. But I can't necessarily say I've been made by Temple. So immediately the words CHRISTMADE came to my head. And it was just that I'm not just made by my school. I'm not just made by my education. I'm not made by all of those things. I'm made by Christ. So idea came back 5 years ago, sat on it, put it to the side, chilled on it, went on to do weddings and event planning and all releasing music and doing music recordings. So I've done worship leading, I've done event planning, I've done theater arts. These are all things that I am very much involved in. So I'm coming to you as a person that isn't just a creative in one sphere, but I believe that I'm a person that has a lot of different things, ways, skill sets that have been operated in a lot of different places. That's important because I was watching live from All Nations Atlanta, and Justin Foster was talking, and he was talking about how it's rare that you find someone that is able to to have the creative person and the thought-driven person and the execution person in the same body. I've been graced to do that, and I thank God for it. I don't count that as a light thing at all. I count that as a very important thing. One of my friends, Whitney, used to say all the time, like, I'm the person that will plan the concert, come set up the design for the concert, sweep the floor, clean up, put the chairs down, get up, pray, sit at the concert, and then break it down and clean up and put everything away afterward, and then edit the video to put it up afterward for stream. That's just the type of person I am. Is I like to be involved in a lot of different things, and I like to be able to do a lot of different things. So I'm coming to you as a person that doesn't want to just speak to the creative person, but I want to speak to the creative person and speak to the execution person. I have something here for you both. So again, doing music, doing events. In 2016, I put CHRISTMADE out to a small group of friends. Shout out to those people who helped me kind of flesh out some of the beginning ideas 4 years ago. And 4 years ago, when I first put it out, we just talked about it. We planned, we went over things, and it just didn't click to do it at that time. All the pieces didn't come together. And you may not realize that I'm talking to you, but I'm really kind of already in my lesson for today, or what I'm going to be talking a lot about today, by going through this timeline. Because again, I told you in 2015 is when the idea came. In 2016 is when I had the logo done and met with a bunch of people about it. And then the idea was put on hold, and you, the public, didn't hear about it until this year, 2020. In the meantime, that same year, 2016, that I first introduced this idea, I quit my job out of nowhere. That's a crazy faith testimony in and of itself that I'll get into at another point. But during the time that I quit my job, I wrote a proposal to my current employer about what I was interested in doing for them, for the church that I work full time for, that I love, Spirit of Faith Christian Center. Put out a proposal, and within a short amount of time, by the end of 2016, I was working full time as what I'm doing currently as the creative director for Spirit of Faith Christian Center. It is one of the most fulfilling jobs I have ever had, if not the most. I am getting to work in full-time ministry every day, but I get to see the ins and outs specifically of creative production and what it means to be a creative in this season. Again, that was in 2016 when I first started working this job. Between 2016 and now, I have worked almost 4 years as a creative director for this ministry, servicing 5 to 6,000 people on a weekly basis, but thousands more than that with our events, our productions, our plays, directing the productions that we do. So that's been the last 4 years. I'll pause just in that moment to say, isn't God just amazing? Because what I wanted to birth 4 years ago, I myself didn't even realize that I didn't have the knowledge or the wherewithal or the history or the track record to launch what I wanted to launch at that time, the way that I wanted to launch it. That is an important thing to recognize, to realize, to understand that if it's not time for your vision to be produced right now, God has a plan. He didn't just give you something just so that you can just have it and so that he could ignore you the rest of the way and pretend like you don't exist and that he doesn't care what you're thinking or that he doesn't care what you're talking about or that he told you that you were going to be able to do something and that you're not. We don't serve that type of God. There is a process and a plan to everything that God has given us. Everything that God has given us. I see you waving, M and Angeline and Kanita and Sasha. Thank you all so much for everybody tuning in. So if there's something that I want you to put in the comments right now, I would want you to put in the comments that I will do everything I'm meant to do in life. Just write that down for yourself. Everything that God intends for me, I will do everything that I'm meant to do in life. I'm a firm believer of that God does not leave us, God does not forsake us. And if we are destined and purposed to do something, it may take 1 year, it may take 2 years, it may take 3 years, it may take for me 4 years. But if I'm purposed to do it, the vision will come to pass. The only thing that will stop that vision from coming to pass is you quitting. That you're the only, my pastor says this all the time. You are the only ingredient to you are an essential ingredient to your success. The only thing that will stop you is if you quit. So I encourage you right now to keep going. Don't stop. Keep pressing your way. Keep pushing, because just like CHRISTMADE came out to be formed, I believe that whatever your vision and purpose that God has given you will continue to be formed. Amen. What's up, Pastor Jermaine Brunson? I see you, sir. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what I kind of focused on, what I do here. I was sitting talking to God and I was praying and I was like, God, I need some clear vision on what I am doing in this current season. And God took me to an article that was written by Hillsong talking about the roles of a creative director. I just wanted to let you all see this real fast because it's important to me that you all take note of it, which is 1, to ensure the vision is received, 2, to empower consistent execution, 3, to encouragingly challenge the status quo, and 4, to equip the creative community. I'm not going to go through all of these things right now. I'm going to go through them on a later live, but you can screenshot this message, or I'll say it again one more time. 1, to ensure the vision is received, 2, to empower consistent execution, 3, to encouragingly challenge the status quo, and 4, to equip the creative community. Those things are very important to me and pretty much encompass what I do right now at the ministry that I work full time for. So again, I'm giving you this information because this is not something that I'm foreign to. This is not a world that I don't know about. I know what it means to be a creative and to empower creative execution in everything that you do. Cool? We're going to keep moving. If I'm moving too fast for you, let me know, okay? Why Christ made. This is so, so very important to me. Why Christ made. It's called Christ made because we were made by God. We were not just poofed. We were not just brought up. It wasn't just on a whim. It wasn't just on the sideline. He purposely and with intentionality created and made us. He formed us. He took time and energy into what he put into us. He thought about what he wanted us to be and who he wanted us to be. That was important to him. And on top of that, he didn't just make us, but he made us in his image and in his likeness. Yo, it could sound like I'm preaching right now, and I promise we'll get to some of the more technical things in later lives. But I don't think we really realize what it means as business owners, as creatives, as entrepreneurs, as CEOs with God-given dreams. I want you to put that and throw that up in the comments. I want you to say, I was made by God in his image and likeness. That is so important. Why? Because we are all creators. I'm about to kill a myth right now. This idea that there are creatives and other people, that there are these people who know how to be creative, and there's these other people who work in a lab and they're not creative, is a lie. It's not the truth. You cannot be deceived into thinking that because you are not an artsy person and draw, paint squiggles on the wall, that suddenly means that you are not a creative. You are a creative simply because you were created in the image and likeness of God. Period. I don't care what you are doing. I don't care if you are sitting at an accounting firm and you are typing and making forms. You're creating something. You are creating I love that from somebody on Instagram. It's an expression of God. Whatever you are doing, you are expressing God in the earth. That's it. You are creating something. So if I got a business owner on here, or you're a tech person on here, or you're a person who likes to be in a lab, welcome, creative. We are all creatives. Every single one of us. There's no one on this live that because they can paint means they're more of a creative than you are. That is a lie. We are all creators. So what does that mean for us? That means take ownership over what you create. It is your responsibility to take ownership over what God has put in your hands. Before I worked here full-time in ministry, while I was doing theater and these other things, thank you for putting myself back up. My sister told me I forgot to put myself back up on Facebook. When people start whatever you're doing, before I worked here full time in ministry, I was working for Geico in an IT tech department. That's how I was making money. I was working in IT and tech. That meant I was literally taking computers and wiping computers all day long. But what was I doing? I was creating systems and using systems to create a positive working environment for the people that were working in my institution. That is what I was doing. I was creating something. So wherever you are and whatever you're doing, you are a creative. Okay. I want you to say that to yourself. I am a creative, whether I can paint, whether I can draw, and I'm going to take ownership over what I do. If it's clicking a button at work, I am creating forms and documents so that my employer and my job can have what they need to have. I'm creating forms and documents so that events go the way they need to go. That is what I was created to do, and that's what I was purposed to do. Okay? So remember that. We are all creators. Next up to that, it's not just that we're creatives, but why creatives in ministry? I'm not going to spend too long on this slide because there's a really good message from Pastor Mike Todd from Transformation Church. If you're a transformation head like me, that's another pastor that I watch quite frequently, and I enjoy. And he just taught a message called "Who's the Minister Here?" I encourage you to go watch that message. If you watch that message, it'll explain a lot of what I was even going to talk about in this slide. But we are all creatives in ministry. Wherever you do and wherever you go and wherever field you are in, you are a minister within that field. Why? Because everything that I do as a creative that is a Christian points back to God. It has his fingerprint on it. God's fingerprint has to be on everything I do because his fingerprint is my fingerprint. If I call myself a Christian and I call myself a representation of Christ, then whatever I put my finger to and my fingerprint on, that means his fingerprint is on it. That's why whatever I'm working in, whether it's business, whether it's in music, whether it's events or tech industry, whatever I touch, I am ministering in that area because whether overtly or subliminally, what I do points back to God. An excellent example of that is we talk about Chick-fil-A all the time, and everybody's not okay with what Chick-fil-A does. But one thing I know about Chick-fil-A is that they are intentional about what they do points back to God, even though it's not overt. Their kindness, the way they handle their institutions, the way they operate, the way you feel when you come through the drive-through, you're committed to it because there is a subliminal pointing back to God that they are doing based off of how they handle what God has given them to be a minister of. They are ministers over that chicken. Okay? That's what they've chose to do. They've chose to administer chicken to you and to change your life and have you feel good and sustained as they move forward in that. So I want you to really remember that my pastor says that all the time, that is the reason why the word field is used in the first place. It's a field because you are harvesting, you are planting, you are the shepherd, you are the garden, you are over and ministering in whatever field he has placed you in. So I want you to put that in the comment. I'm doing that just to keep you all engaged. I am a minister in the field that I am in. I am a minister in whatever field I am in. I really want you to understand that. If you agree with that, go ahead and put some hearts on it. Let me know that you're with me and that you understand that I'm a minister in whatever field I'm in. Okay, cool. This is why this next thing is important, and this is really going to be the meat of what I'm going to talk about in the rest of my time here talking with you all, which is what sets us apart as Christ-made people. And I believe there are 5 things that set us apart as Christ-made people, as Christ-made business owners, as Christ-made full-time ministry workers, as Christ-made CEOs, as Christ-made bosses, as Christ-made entrepreneurs. There are 5 things that set us apart greatly from in whatever we're doing. Okay. And I'm a big definition person. My pastor has always taught me that you cannot fulfill what you cannot define. Say that. That's Dr. Mike Freeman running through me right there. I cannot fulfill what I cannot define. If you don't understand the definition of what it is you're doing, then you can't fulfill something that you don't understand. So we're going to go through some definitions of why these 5 things set us apart, not just so that we can get some definition, so that that defining can bring us the ability to fulfill and put some action behind what we're doing. Okay. The first big one, priority. Y'all may think these are definitions that y'all know, and really it's very simple. You can Google these definitions and it's not hard to do, but I'm going to leave these definitions with you because we Google things all the time and we get definitions all the time that we really don't delve into and take heed to in a way that really transforms our lives. This first one is priority. Priority is the right to take precedence or to proceed before others. A lot of times when we say priority, we just think Oh, something I'm supposed to put first, something I'm supposed to put first. I'm adding an extra piece with this definition. It's not that you are putting it first, is that it has the right to take precedent over whatever you're doing. I'm gonna calm down so I don't get in my preach voice. Y'all tell me calm down. Okay. Let me simmer down. I don't want to get preach voice on you. It is important to understand that we are not just putting God first because we're putting God first. We're putting God first because he has the right to take precedence over what we're doing. He has the right to do it. So when you're running around and you're trying to do the things God is supposed to do, and you feel that tugging of Holy Spirit that tells you, hey, I need you to spend time with me. Hey, business owner, I need you to spend some time talking to me. Hey, business owner, I need you to spend some time communing with me. I need you to understand that God is not asking you for your attention so that he can take you away from what you're supposed to be doing. He asking you for your attention because he has the right to take precedence over whatever you got going on. It is his right. It is not a privilege. It is not it's cool if we let him. It is not I'll get to it when I feel like it. It is God has the right to take precedence in my life. Put that in the comment if you understand that. God has the right to take precedence in my life. The other reason why that is important is because when we put him in proper priority, I promise you it will help us to kill and stab and destroy anxiety and worry in these businesses and things that we have our hands in. Because when we have the understanding that at the end of the day, whatever I'm producing, God has the right to be the priority in it, and he has the right to take control of it, then I don't have to be concerned or anxious about anything, because it's not my thing, it's his. He has the right. He has the right to take precedence. I don't, what am I worried about? Another statement that I say to myself all the time is fellowship over followers. My fellowship with him is more important than the followers and influence that I'm trying to gain. Fellowship over followers. He has the right. My fellowship with him has the right to take precedence over anybody following me, over anybody I'm connected to, over anybody I'm in relationship with. He has the right to take precedence. So business owner, I encourage you, whatever you're doing, loosen the grip, put it down and reapproach God and put him back in the proper place of priority that he deserves. Okay. That's the first one. Priority. Second, next up after priority is we aren't just set apart by our priority, but we're set apart by our purpose. Our purpose is something different than the world's purpose. Purpose is defined as the reason for which something is done or created, or for which something exists. I am concerned about any Christian that owns a business, works in full-time ministry, anything like that, whose purpose or reasoning does not either overtly or subliminally end with Christ and pointing people back to him. I'm concerned. If you're Christian and your business vision or purpose is to make, this came to my mind because it's so big right now, to make masks for the world, to construct, my friend Kima is on here. She's a person that's making masks because we're in the season of coronavirus. If my purpose is to make masks for the world, and maybe I don't put it on paper overtly, in my mind, that purpose doesn't end with to make masks for the world so that they see the kindness of God and I can point people back to him. If that's not involved somewhere in what I do, then I'm concerned. If I'm an event planner and I may not put overtly on paper that I'm a Christian, and I'm because ain't nobody asked you to do that. Be clear. Nobody is asking you to you only need to serve Christians. That's dumb. That's dumb. Nobody's asking you to only serve Christians. Nobody's asking you to only pay attention to what Christians do. You can serve everybody. I ain't got to put overtly on paper that I'm here to serve the Christian. I don't have to say that. But what I can say is I'm an event planner and I'm here to do things with excellence and empowered and seamlessly, and to make your wedding day the most amazing wedding day that you've ever had in your life. That way you will ask me why I have the peace of mind that I do, and why I'm able to construct things the way I am, and why I'm able to handle your affairs the way I am. And at the end of the day, I can tell you it's because Christ lives within me, and he can transform my life just like he transformed my life, and he can transform yours and cause you to work at your operative level just like he caused me to work. At the end of the day, that's what it's about. At the end of the day, I should handle everything I'm doing with a purpose. And the reason why I'm doing something should point back to Christ. If you are a Christian and you're operating in the world, and at the end of the day, everything doesn't point back to Christ, I'm concerned. I need you to really go ahead and just put that out there for yourself. Everything I do points back to Christ. Everything. Everything I do, business owner, everything I do, entrepreneur, everything I do, CEO. It's not just the full-time ministry workers, y'all. You think because you don't work full-time in a church that you slacking off at work doesn't point back to God. Let me help you understand. Everything I do points back to Christ. Okay? Next one up, it's not just about priority and purpose, but it's about, this segues perfectly. It's about your principles. Our principles should set us apart, you guys. I work with the theater department here at my church, and I direct productions that we do here. And they know Shadana is on here. I see you, Shadana. She's one of my right hands in that department. Shadana knows that I expressed to the department that I do not believe in Christian departments. I do not believe in Christian level operations. And most of y'all know what I mean. The minute we start talking about the church is doing something, especially in the church of people with this color, there's an automatic connotation that happens in people's mind involving the way the church handles business. We're in the theater department. I don't believe in going in our theater department and telling people, oh, because you're a volunteer and because you're here willingly off of your own accord, that you chose to be here, but you're not getting paid, that you just don't have to work as hard. I can't push you as hard. I can't make you be as excellent because you are in a Christian church department. I don't believe in it. That is a lie. That's a lie. Our principles should put us above the world. Our principles should elevate us up in the way we handle things far above the way the world handles stuff, simply because of the principles that have been put in our lives. We don't get to cheat or be lax because we got, this is specifically really, I feel burdened towards full-time ministry workers in this area. We don't get to be lax just because we're working with volunteers. Yes, there may be a different way that we handle them, but that's one of the things that I love about one of the most brilliant people that I sit under, Pastor Tim Bowman Jr. He's the Fine Arts Director here at Spirit of Faith Christian Center. And if you've been watching what we've been producing just crazy different fine arts presentations for our worship. That's a plug. Tune in to Spirit of Faith Christian Center on Instagram, and on Facebook and on YouTube on Sundays at 10 a.m. I promise it'll change your life. When I sit under him, he does not teach our music department that we can be any less than stellar because we volunteered to be there. No one cares that we volunteered to be there. God has put a purpose in your life, and your principles should be on an excellent level, no matter what you are doing. Going to a definition, because remember, I told you, if you're just tuning in, I'm using definitions because you cannot fulfill what you cannot define. That's a Dr. Mike Freeman quote. You cannot fulfill what you cannot define. Okay. Your principles are a fundamental truth that serves as the foundation for a system or behavior or chain of reasoning. Your principles have to, one, be true to you. That we can't even move on with this definition. We can't even move on with a fundamental truth. I'll stop there. Your principles are a fundamental truth. If you don't believe the word of God and the principles that he set forth, then you probably aren't going to benefit from the rest of this sentence. Because if it hasn't become true for you first, if you haven't started to believe it for yourself first, that your principle is a fundamental truth for you, that at the foundation of everything you do, I operate this way because I believe it, then we can't even move on to the rest of the sentence. But if you're a person who believes that it's a fundamental truth, let's read the rest of this definition again. That serves as the foundation for a system of belief, behavior, or for a chain of reasoning. It's not enough that you believe God. If your actions, the system that you operate by, or the behavior that you use, or your chain of reasoning doesn't change. Y'all, as Christ-made CEOs, business owners, entrepreneurs, we have to reason things differently than the world. That's why people might think that we're crazy. My reasoning doesn't work the same way as everybody else. I, I, I don't process things the same. I live in a different kingdom up here. That's another thing Dr. Mike is always teaching us. I live in a different kingdom up here. I can't, my mind doesn't even think the same way as other people do. Let me help you, Christian-owned believer, CEO, entrepreneur, full-time ministry worker. People are going to talk about you and think you are crazy, especially within the church of people who don't have this kingdom mindset. Because what you're going to find is that you have people who say they've done this first part where they have a fundamental truth or belief, but they haven't done the second part where a foundation or behavior or chain of reasoning has changed. So when you come up against people who've only done the first part, who say that they believe in God, but how they reason or their behavior hasn't changed, most likely they're going to think you crazy and talk about you bad for the way you handle things. Get it. Get it in your mind right now. Accept it as a truth. If you have experienced that, go ahead and light this up with hearts and let me know that you've experienced some people in church or otherwise talking about you because they don't understand your reasoning that you knew was God led. Go ahead and press and like and heart that and let me know, because that is the plight. That is the plight of a person who trusts God in what he does. Here's another minor thing that I'm going to help you all with that's going to be a bit different for you all. That means that I have to be more on point than anybody else that is in the world or otherwise. I started this live at 2:00 on the dot because I am tired of Christian-owned establishments and people saying that things are going to start at a certain time and having a conscious understanding that they're going to be late because that's acceptable. Because I just feel like I gotta be late and I can't be on time. I'm trying to understand what principle of excellence that God has given us does that fall under? How does that work in excellence? How does that translate to people that are outside there in the world? How does that change the world's opinion of what's going on? That you consciously say, I'm going to not do what I said? My apostle trained us since we were younger. We would have meetings here at this church, and anybody old Spirit of Faith, you can go ahead and put a hand clap if you understand this. We would have meetings here at this church, and if the meeting started at 10, there were chains on the door at 10 o'clock. And people thought he was crazy because people would be standing outside of the meeting that had driven all the way there waiting to get in. But what he was teaching us was a principle of excellence. There is no excuse for your consistent lateness. I understand something happened, it's an emergency, got it. But you and I'm just going to be late to the meeting just because I want to be late. There's no understanding for it. So he taught us a principle so that when I got into college, I joined the gospel ministry that I was a part of. And I loved my church and our gospel ministry. But one of the things that ministry was known for at the time was rehearsal starting late. And I would be in the rehearsal. My friends that are on here who know, go ahead and testify. I think I saw Erica in here. They know at the start time of rehearsal at 7 o'clock, I'd be sitting in the meeting like this. Nobody's there. Rehearsal hasn't started yet. And I'm sitting in the meeting because I'm trying to understand why this rehearsal said we're starting at 7 o'clock and why this rehearsal didn't start at 7 o'clock when we said we were going to start it. I'm confused. I'm baffled. And the Christ-made excellence within me made me then begin to agitate the people around me. That is good. My friends know the people around me started to get irritated about how constantly I was talking about, why are we starting late? Why does this rehearsal say we're starting at 7 o'clock? So let me help you, Christian-owned CEO boss. When you start bringing on employees and doing certain things and your meeting start at 10 and you start agitating people, good. The Christ within me that operates in a principle of excellence should agitate everybody around me. It should agitate people to a place of excellence. And little did we know, what ended up happening is, through my agitation and other things, I ended up being on the executive board of that organization. And by the time I was on the executive board of the organization, we were determined and starting rehearsals on time. By the time the whole timing of the organization changed because I was one of the people that demanded that my Christ-made principles will agitate anything that's out of order around here. Anything that's not operating in excellence, what's in me is going to agitate that. And that doesn't mean I'm perfect. I got things that I need to work on that's going to help me as well. But I strive to operate in the excellence that God has given me because of the principles that I stand on. Okay? We got 2 more things, and I'm going to be done in the next 10 minutes and possibly take some comments and questions if you have them. The next big thing, we talked about priority, we talked about purpose, we talked about principles. Our provision is different than the world. Let me hear you say it again. Our provision is different than the world's. We are not provided for. Put that in the comments. My provision is different than the world's. We are not provided for in the same way as everyone else. This definition says the action of providing or supplying something for use. That's something that we know, but I love it when it's used in a verb as a definition because it adds something else. To supply with food, drink, or equipment, especially for a journey. What you are doing is a journey, folks. You're not going to wake up today and everything is just going to be fine. Everything is just going to be wonderful. Everything is just going to be perfect and everywhere that you need it to be. That is wrong. You are on a journey. And because you are on a journey, you have to stay connected to where your provision comes from. It is so important. I tell people all the time, I believe that I operate in uncommon favor. My favor is not common. My favor is uncommon. God has graced me and provided for me in ways that will make other people think that I'm a fool. Here's a prime example. Coronavirus is going on right now. Go ahead and clap this up if this is you. I am doing better financially in coronavirus than I was before coronavirus. I've paid off more bills in coronavirus than I was before coronavirus happened. Now, that is not something that is there to make you feel bad. I'm not trying to push myself above you or place myself above anyone. I am just a firm believer that if God did it for me and is doing it for me, he can do it for you too. The wisdom of God has given me and my wife the ability to live better during Corona than we were before Corona happened. Because my provision comes from a different place. So when the world is tripping out about things that are going on, I'm trying to understand why the Christians are tripping like the world is tripping. Help me. Help me. Help me. Help me. Was that Kevin Hart? Help me. Please help me understand why the Christians are tripping out more than the world. Why do I see Christian organizations and businesses typing statuses like, my business is going to shut down today? I can't sustain this. Help me understand. Help. I don't understand how your source could be from Christ and your typing status is talking about you're about to go under. One, your confession is off, and that helps me understand you don't understand the principles of the kingdom. Your confession alone and what you're putting out to the world is off. We can start there. But then on top of that, what were you doing in your business? What were you doing in your ministry? What was it built on that now you're going under and that you're convinced that God won't provide every need that he provided for you before? We say that cliche statement all the time that the church is not within the four walls of the church. We are the church. So why are we tripping out? Help me. And what tripping out does causes us to make unwise decisions. You're making unwise decisions, and I'm kind of tipping into my last word. You're making unwise decisions because you're in a panic because you don't remember where your provision is. As a Christ-made person, our provision comes from a different place, y'all. And we gotta understand that. Last but certainly not least, because our provision comes from a different place, we have peace that nobody else has. If you don't have peace right now, I encourage you to go back up to the first point that I made and check your priority. I encourage you to check where your priorities are because your peace should be higher than anybody else's peace. The world can trip out. I don't have to. I abide in the peace of God. My business is handled by God. My God provides for everything that I do. So I don't have to act a fool. I walk through things in a peace that surpasses all understanding. But I get it. That's a little hard for some people that watching because you're more used to or comfortable with talking about peace instead of living in it. Yeah, I'm challenging you, and maybe I'm coming for your neck. You talk about peace, we get on these pulpits, we get on these statuses, we talk, we do all this about the peace of God that surpasses all understanding. And then we have meltdowns. And I'm speaking not only to you all, I'm speaking to myself. I'm currently in a Bible plan right now dealing with anxiety, currently, because I'm trying to remind myself, whoa, 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 whoa. We don't have to do this. I don't have to be anxious about what's going on here. Do you think it was easy? Do you think it was easy putting this Christ-made stuff out to you all and asking you all to pay attention and listen and communicate? That wasn't easy. I go to therapy and I told my therapist, I said, immediately after putting it out, the next 2 days were a little bit of a lot for me. It was heavy. I had to function through my mind like, whoo, I'm putting a thing out there that is very near and dear to me, and I want people to pay attention to me about it. It wasn't easy, but I had to go into the Bible plan and the word and remind myself, I don't do stuff like everybody else does. I don't have the same foundation as everybody else does. What am I anxious for? What lie from the devil am I allowing in my mind concerning my business, concerning my entrepreneurship, concerning my ministry that would make me think that I am something other, or I have some other support than what I have? So again, I need you to stop talking about peace. And my friend Jasmine just said, create a new normal for yourself. It has to become a new normal for you. I'm not going to trip out. I'm not going to allow, yeah, I may deal with depression as a thing, but I'm not going to allow that thing to consume me. I'm going to do everything in my power to remind myself of the word of God over my life so that I can live in this definition. Remember, I can't fulfill this if I don't understand this, so that I can be free from disturbance and live in tranquility. That's the definition of peace. Free from disturbance. That does not mean that things won't come. That's the whole, and I don't want to get into a whole lot of I know the word, and if you know the word, you know I'm dropping Christ-based and Christian Bible things, but I don't want to get into a whole lot of delving book and scripture right now. That'll come at a later time, maybe. But one thing is, that's the whole point about us building our houses upon the rock and not upon the sand. Because when we build something on top of the right priority, that is a rock, then the storm is going to come, but I am free from disturbance. I want you to put that in the comment in all caps. I am free from disturbance. I need you to make that a confession for yourself. I am free from disturbance. I operate in a peace because I don't have to trip out. And if I feel stressed, if the enemy slips in or an emotion slips in that tries to govern me, I know exactly what priority to run back to. See, that'll help you. Some of you all are trying to work your way through depression. Some of you are trying to create your way through depression. Some of you are trying to draw and build things and promote yourself through depression. You're trying to gain more followers through depression and through anxiety. You're trying to do all these things to get through depression without ever returning back to the source to stand on, without ever going back to the priority. Beloved, yeah, that's what the church people say. You can't work yourself out of depression, beloved. There is not enough creations in the world. There is not enough content you can produce in the world to walk yourself out of anxiety and depression. There are not enough clients that you can get. There are not enough contracts you can sign. There are not enough. Y'all know where I'm going with it. There are not enough music you can listen to. There is not enough of anything else you can do that will walk you out of depression and anxiety without returning back to your priority, without returning all the way back up here to this thing, to the first thing on this list. There's nothing you can do. There's a priority you have to have, y'all. So I'm gonna wrap this up. I thought about taking questions. If you have one, you can throw it up real fast, but I didn't want this to be any longer than an hour. I hope that you stay tuned into what we are going to have coming up, because my plan in this CHRISTMADE platform is to agitate you into your greatness. If you're going to come on to these sessions, we're not going to talk about things that appease you. We're not going to talk about things that make you feel good. I may somewhat be here to inspire you, but more so, I'm here to agitate you. I'm here to stir up the gift on the inside of you. That is what stirring is. It's an agitation. There are things at the bottom of the pot that are resting, that need to be stirred up. And what it's going to take is me. I got a big spoon and a big long arm, and I'm about to stick it down on the inside of you through these CHRISTMADE sessions. And I'm about to stir up what is on the inside of you. Yes, I will make the notes available to this session. I think I'm going to restream this session later on tonight. So we'll make sure that everybody can get it if you want it. But I'm here to stir up on the things that are at the bottom of that pot. For example, next time, our next CHRISTMADE is going to be in 2 weeks on today. I don't know if it's going to be at the same time. Y'all tell me if y'all like 2 o'clock or if I should have done later. Put that in the comments. If you like 2 p.m. or if I should have done later in the day. But it'll definitely be next Monday. And I have a wonderful guest coming on with me. Her name is Lauren White. She's actually on today. She is the one of just an amazing person. I'm gonna get into her bio later, but she's an incredible individual. I'll post that later. And we're gonna be talking about, would you like to know? Do y'all want to cheat? If you want me to cheat and tell y'all the subject of the next 2 weeks, in 2 weeks, go ahead and put I want to know. Throw up I want to know real loud in the comments if you want to know what the subject is going to be on. Because we're not going to be talking about patty cake, pitter pat things anymore. You are going to be agitated. I want to irritate you. I don't want you to be comfortable in what you're doing anymore. I don't want you to be comfortable in how you operate anymore. Because as a Christ-made believer, we do things differently than other people do things. Y'all said y'all want to know. Instagram saying y'all want to know. Next week, we are going to be talking about obedience, the taboo word. I want you to put that in all caps in the comment now that you know. Put obedience, the taboo, obedience, the taboo word. And I could get into it right now. I'm so hyped about it, and I could get into it right now, but I ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna do it. But me and Lauren about to have a good time with that topic. But in the meantime, I want you all to be encouraged, you guys. Be encouraged that we are different people. Be okay with being different. Be okay with not being the same as everybody else. Be okay with not living the way that other people live. We are Christ made. When I say that, it makes me sit up. It makes me get excited and strong. I am made by Christ. I am made in his image and his likeness. I am a creator. No matter what field I am, I have the power to speak something into existence and it happens. I have the power to speak something into existence and lives will be changed. Okay? I love you guys. I wanted to be done by 3 o'clock. I think it'll end a little bit early. Again, once I get off this live and this live comes back up, I'll restream it, but share this live. If you could do me a favor, screenshot, do whatever you need to do. I need y'all to go on Instagram, Facebook. My Instagram and Facebook are in the top left corner. For those on Instagram, y'all know what my Instagram is. And my Facebook is Derrick, my name, Derrick Lionel, to you all. And for Facebook and Instagram, go ahead, tag pictures, let us know. And we are going to have a good time with these sessions, okay? Stay tuned, and I love you guys.